What's up, everybody? This is Cadillac Mack, and today we're going to be putting leather on these back seats. If you follow my previous videos, you see that I ordered some seats from lseats.com, and I'm going to be showing you step by step how to put those seats on your vehicle today. Okay, so stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe, and yeah, keep following, keep watching, keep clicking buttons. I don't know. Okay, this is what we're going to need for this installation. Now, mind you, you don't need all of these pieces. You just need some of them. But I got all of them here just to make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to go down the line. These are some needle nose pliers. Yeah, they're mad rusty, but they work. These are just some regular grip pliers. Carpet knife. Sharpie permanent marker. You can use a pen or whatever. X-Acto knife, which I might not even use this at all, but you know, good to have handy. Some hog rings. That's what these are. You can buy them by the box. And some hog ring pliers. These are automatic hog ring pliers, so they're not like your traditional hog ring pliers. They have the rings loaded already in them. You see those little ridges? So you can load it like a staple gun, and then look, you just put it on, clamp it down, and it comes out already together. See that? So they're about $10, $15 more than the regular hog ring pliers. Also, what you're going to need, you're going to need a couple yards of this burlap. Now, you don't have to use burlap, but burlap, from what I've heard, I'm not an expert upholsterer, but from what I've heard, it lasts longer over time. So I've heard people just use sheets, blankets from the dollar store, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Just any kind of cloth. That's kind of like a underlaying. But I actually went out and bought the burlap, and it was $29.99 for this roll, and there's 12 yards in this roll. And I didn't even pay $12.99 for the roll because I got this from Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby has coupons online, and they're huge coupons. So I got 50% off of this, so it was $15 for this whole roll. As well as, put it to the side, as well as this 2-inch polyfoam. I got a 50% off of this as well. So this is also what you need, 2 inches. Also, what's not in here, you need some adhesive spray glue, which I don't have right now, it's upstairs, but you're gonna need that for this. Also, I almost forgot, you will also need a few wire hangers. If you don't have listing wire, you're gonna need a few of these wire hangers, all right? And I'm gonna show you what to do with these in a minute. Also, you're gonna need a good pair of scissors to complete this project. So this is my seat, all right? Now I've sanded down, I've mildly sanded down these springs, and I sprayed them with some Rust-Oleum primer, and I came back over it with some black paint. That step I did was unnecessary. You could completely skip that because the inside of these seats and these springs will probably never be seen again. But just me personally, I wanted to have them clean, you know what I'm saying? So I sanded them down, which was a tedious process because of all these little S-curves and ins and outs, and then I sprayed it twice, and that's where I start my process at, right? So what we're gonna first do is we're gonna measure out a square to cover this top parameter of the spring bed, and that's what we're gonna use the burlap for. Then we're gonna come around it, and we're going to get it down. There's just like inner piece to where if your butt's sitting here, your legs hang over here. You want to get a piece of burlap and cover all this up too. So 2 pieces. We're going to cut a piece of burlap off of this and a piece of burlap off of this. Now we got the burlap laid over the seat. As you can see, I left extra because the seat stops right there. But I left extra. You don't have to leave this much extra at all. I just give you example. You really need to leave about 2-3 inches. That's it. On each side, all the way around. This side, the other side, and this front lip. You need to leave about 2-3 inches. And that's it. So now I'm gonna trim this side down. Okay, so now I got my piece cut out. With a little bit of overlap. And I'm gonna cut some more off of this. I'm just not doing it right now. So I got my piece cut out. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna put this piece to the side. And now I'm gonna do a piece, I'm gonna measure a piece for this space that I was telling you about. And this doesn't have to go all the way around, but you know, you want to give it a little bit here on the side. You know, but really the main focus is this middle. Main focus is this middle. So maybe a little overhang on the side, this much, maybe a little bit, but it's not a big deal if you don't. So let me measure that out and then I'm gonna cut you back on. Lies. You see this right here is where that marker comes in handy, because I'm trying to hold it over and fold it, but it's just so much easier to have that marker because I could just make a line. And then I could just come back and trim and it'll be perfect. So now let me get to cutting this out. Again, you want to leave a little bit of extra, maybe 2 inches extra over where you actually need, because you can always remove fabric, but you cannot add fabric back once you cut it. Okay, remember when you're measuring, your lines are this first line, this first front line, and it's not this, it's the holes on the inside that you have to get to. See, there's still a hog ring that's left behind. You're gonna take the fabric and hog ring the top of it here, and then bring it down under and around and hog ring it on the inside. So don't just measure to this part and stop. It's gotta come all the way in and around. So now we got all our pieces. We got the top piece, which is a big piece. We got the little guide piece, which is a little thinner piece. I had to cut 2 because, you know, just the length of it, I had to make an extra little piece to, you know, extend for this little section. And you might have to do the same thing. So now we just got to apply it. Now mind you, you don't have to use this burlap. This burlap is just, I don't know if you can see, but it's just like, it's very easy to punch through. You know, you can use an old bed sheet if you got an old sheet. When your kids done left pee-pee spots on it or something, you know, you want to throw it away, you can use that. But it's just harder to punch through than this burlap, because this burlap is just like real. You can use anything, old blanket, whatever, you know. But what you're gonna do is, there's this big piece right here. You're not gonna attach it to this. You're gonna come down to where the bend in the springs is, right about here. You're gonna attach it to right here. From right here to right here. And then the slender piece from right here to inside here, this spring. So piece right here, piece right here. If you wanna do the sides, you can do the sides too. I hog ring some of them. Well, I hog ring the whole thing. I did the whole back. But some of the hog rings, when I checked, were loose. So what I did is I took these grip pliers. They weren't loose, but they just weren't as tight as I wanted. So what I did was I took these grip pliers. I don't know if you can see this, but I'd get a grip on the ones that I felt like were loose, and I would just give them an extra little clamp, which made see how snug that is now, which made it. The ones that I felt like were too loose, I would just give them an extra clamp, and that thing made it super tight. So that's a little trick, and that's why you need these little grip pliers. Okay, so now I got all the back done, and now I'm gonna do the front. Now the front, what I'm gonna do, because I want this to be kind of tight, I don't want it to be super tight, but I want it to be like, you know, smooth, flat across the top, is I'm gonna get my girlfriend to hold this down, because you see how it's rocking? I'm gonna get her to hold this steady so I can get a tight, I can get a tight hog ring around the front of this. And start from the middle, work your way out. So I've covered the top. As you see, hog ring. Now I'm doing this. Let me see if you can see the holes. Now I'm doing this section. Now, I looked online and a lot of people said that you could skip this step, because all this does is when you put the foam on, when the foam starts to get old, it'll start to sink into the springs. So all this does is stop the foam from sinking in between the springs. So a lot of people skip this step because, I mean, you're not really gonna have foam here unless you add foam here, which I might add some foam here just to get the leather to stretch extra tight. But a lot of people skip this step. So if you wanna skip this, you can, but I mean, I'm just doing it because I got the fabric, why not? So I'm gonna cut you back on after I finish buttoning this up, and then we'll move on to the foam. Okay, so now I got the seat completely covered. I had to make 2 separate pieces for this part. It was kind of long, but as you can see, kind of looks like a seat now. Now what's next is the foam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray some adhesive on the top of this, and I'm gonna lay the foam across the top. Oh, actually first, I'm gonna cut the shape of the foam. I'm gonna cut the shape of this out onto the foam so that it exactly matches the profile. And then once I do that, I'm gonna spray some adhesive down and I'm gonna stick it on top. That way when I slide the cover on, it's not sliding all around. Now as you can see, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm leaving a little space right here because I drew this line right up against the seat, so I'm leaving a little space. Which is why I'm not cutting this line. Also, this is where the hanger comes in. This is where the hanger comes in. After I get these wrinkles out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this hanger, I'm gonna unwind it at the top here. Take my wire cutters and I'm gonna cut off these 2 ends. And then I'm gonna stretch it out and bend it. All right, get it pretty straight. Now that it's pretty straight, once I cut these ends off, it'll be just like a straight line. And I'm gonna take that straight line. This is the back of the seat cover. It has this little pocket right here. So on the end of the pocket, pull this up, is an opening where you can slide this coat hanger wire through, and this will act like your listing wire. And this is what's gonna keep your hog rings tight. So you want to do, start in the middle, work your way out. Do a couple this way, couple that way, go back to this side, go back to that side. So the back is all the way hog ring, all the way up, all the way down. And this is what it looks like. Now, a lot of seat covers, when you get them, they have an extra flap that it comes with that flaps over this, and then you hog ring this to the back. But these don't come with it. So, I mean, this is gonna be exposed, which I don't give a damn, because when you put the seats together, you're not gonna see this. The hanger that I used, this shit was essential. There's no way you could hog ring this seat cover to the back of this without putting this wire through. There's no way, it's impossible. So this shit is an absolute must. It's a must. There's no way you can do it without it. Now I'm gonna work on the front and I'm gonna start in the middle and work my way out both sides, stretching it at the same time as I'm doing it. And also I might put this back under a little bit more heat because I got some of the wrinkles out, but I didn't get all of them out. But I'm gonna put it under a little more heat, make it a little more pliable, and then I'm gonna start hitting this. So you see, I put the listing wire like this through the burlap, and then I stretch this over it, and get all of it together. Okay, so we did the back. I reheated it up underneath my heating element. So if you got a hair dryer or heat gun, this would be the time to reheat your leather so you can stretch it again. Then I started on the front, and I went from the middle. Let me zoom out so you see. I started in the middle, as you see, and worked my way out. Now this side does not have a slot for a listing wire, but I just put another piece of wire hanging underneath. You can see the edge right there, because I didn't want to just do just the leather straight to the metal. I wanted to put something else in between here. You kind of see right there, so that, you know, if this stuff was to try to rip out, there's something that's gonna block it from like just tearing out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna finish the front, and I'm stretching as I go. And then we'll work on the sides, and I'll tuck it in the sides and get it perfect. And I'll cut you back on. So I got all the front done. Now I'm working on the sides. You want to make sure you put a lot of hog rings in these corners, because this is a high stress area, and it's more likely to come undone. Once you get the corners, you just kind of work your way down, but you want to pull it like super tight, because if there's any wrinkles on the other side, this is your last chance to get them out by pulling on the sides. So I'm going to work on these two sides and finish this up. Remember, as you pull, put pressure on it, and then once you get in a good spot, then clamp it. So this is the last little part. So once you stretch the side, I did these two because there's holes right here and right there. I skipped this one, and because there's so much left over, I'm just gonna hog ring it to this bar right here. And then this flap, I'm also gonna just tie up and hog ring to this bar. So stretch it. In kind of like this, and then I'm just gonna do some hog rings in the bar. But before I make it permanent, I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna look at it to see how it looks. I'm not gonna leave all these wrinkles. I'm not gonna leave all these wrinkles in. So I'm gonna fold it a certain way to where it's not so wrinkly, and hog ring it to these bars in this bar. Now it comes with this little flap. Let me tip it up a little bit so you can see better. It has this little flaps in the corner. So what I did to kind of close up this area in the back of the seat, so you see. See, this is where the whole seat is. This back corner, you could kind of see still a little bit of white foam. So what I did was, I took this little flap that comes with it, and instead of just hog ringing it to the back, I kind of wove it back into the second little rod, or whatever you want to call it, to kind of close this up a little bit more. And then I just hog ringed it to that second spring where it started. So let me finish doing this side, and then I'll turn you back on and I'll show you the finished product. now that I'm done with the seats, because I was working on it, sweating and all that type of stuff, I had grease and stuff on my hands. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a leather wipe, not no regular degreaser, because the regular degreaser will actually take color out of your leather. You need to use a leather specific cleaner. So I'm gonna use a leather specific cleaner. I'm gonna wipe this joint down and then I'm gonna come back over it with another leather conditioner so that it looks like, you know, all these fingerprints and all these little marks from me sweating and cleaning on it, all that stuff will be gone and it'll look like a brand new seat. So that's the final step. After you put it all together, wipe down and condition. That's it. Got a bunch of lint on this joint, but and this is what we got. We got smooth plush leather. And when I tell you this thing is firm, bouncy, looks good, smells like brand new leather. And this is what it is. Tip it up so you can get a little better view. Long ways. So this is what you're left with. If you did everything like I did everything, you have a smooth leather seat. Now stay tuned. We're gonna do the back the same way. I'm not gonna do a full tutorial on how to do backrest because it's basically the same as doing this. There's just a few slight variations, so I'm gonna do a short video on just the variations. But everything else, pretty much how you stretch it, when you start from the back or to the front, is gonna be the same. So stay tuned until next time, and I'm out. I'll talk to you guys next time.